folks, we've got another update on making a motorised Hot Wheels car. This one here was version 2, and this here's what we're going to look at, which is version 3. But before we start looking at version 3, I'll just do a quick recap of version 1 and version 2 that Paul made. So this was the chassis after it had been taken off the Hot Wheels car, and you've got a little worm gear there, haven't you, Paul?
Yes.
And then you had 3 motors, and you chose the smallest first, the little silver one.
Mm-hmm.
So you put that little silver motor in the car.
Mm-hmm.
But we found that went really slow, didn't it?
Yeah, it was also the batteries that we were using, though.
Yeah, you used little button cells at first as well. And then you moved up to using this red motor.
Yeah.
And putting the lithium
ion cell. The flat one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that moved a lot faster.
Oh yes, gave excellent performance.
It was quite a thrill.
Yeah.
When you first switched that on. And you made a few more changes to version 2. This battery that's on it now, that's not the one that you had on it previously.
Slightly higher capacity. It's roughly the same size, slightly bigger in dimensions, but a slightly higher capacity, 300 milliamp hours. And we have some additional components on as well. The LED allows me to, well, it acts like a light when it's going around, but when the light goes out, it tells me that the battery's low and needs recharging. Mm-hmm. And we've added a resistor in just to drop the voltage a little bit to the motor because
it was going so fast that it come off the track.
Yeah, even a simple track like an oblong with curves, it was just going too fast for it. So we had to drop the voltage a little bit.
So, back to version 3 now, our new car.
Mm.
So this is a radical change from the last car, the version 2. You've used 4 separate motors. So these are the two of the little motors, because you put 4 in, haven't you?
Yeah, 4 motors, the 4 millimeters diameter and 8 millimeters long, so very small.
And so you don't need a big motor anymore in the middle of the car.
No, that's right. So the power is distributed over 4 smaller motors. They're quite weak, really. They don't generate much torque, although they're very high speed. But when you put 4 of them together, they give enough torque to move the car along the track.
And you are going to make version 4 with slightly larger motors, aren't you?
Yeah.
But at the moment, you're concentrating on this one.
That's right, yeah.
Because it does go to a fair old whack.
It is. The motors are perhaps slightly too small, slightly too high speed, because they're not geared. They attach directly to the wheels, so it's not the best sort of gearing for the high-speed motor.
Okay, so let's talk about the rest of the car.
Okay.
So in the first 2 versions of the car, you used the chassis of the original Hot Wheels car.
Yeah.
But in this version 3, you are no longer using any parts of a Hot Wheels car.
That's right, yeah. The chassis is 3D printed. Took the measurements off an original Hot Wheels chassis, but it's 3D printed totally. And the wheels are also 3D printed as well. This makes it easier for me to fit the components in, such as the battery, which is right at the bottom of the car. You can't see it because it's obscured by a little piece of circuit board, which then carries a few components like a resistor, a switch and some wires.
So your intention with this one is to actually make a 3D printed top of the car so that all these workings inside will be covered over and it'll actually look like a car.
That's right, yeah. 3D printed chassis there already with the wheels. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to print a 3D body which fits over the top, makes it look like a Hot Wheels car, maybe even paint it.
And you were talking about actually giving this one headlights.
Oh yes, it's quite exciting because I can design all the 3D parts to build up the body. I can make little cavities to incorporate some 2mm white LEDs at the front, some 2mm red LEDs at the back, so you've got sort of like forward and rear lights on the car as well. Should look good at night going on a Hot Wheels track.
Yeah. So we are actually going to put this on the track now and just show you folks how it moves.
And how it sounds.
And how it sounds, because it sounds quite different.
It does.
I'll tell you what, before we do that, we'll just switch both of the cars on so you can hear the difference.
This is version 2. Let's turn it on and see what it sounds like. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now version 3.
Okay.
That sounds really good. I don't know why.
The motors are going around much, much faster.
Are they?
Yeah.
It does sound better.
I'll just say that both of these cars, you see they've got resistors in to limit the power to the motors. At the moment, the power is being kept quite low, so the performance can be increased, but it's still in the prototype stage. So.
Yeah. So would you say that's a bit slower than the last one, Paul, the version 2?
As it was when it was originally filmed, yes, because they've both now got resistors in
Oh,
the
right,
power
yeah,
rather than the prototype stage, but they could both go considerably faster than this.
So, Paul, you just changed the resistor on this car.
Yeah, we had a 3 ohm resistor in, which I've taken out and replaced it with a 1 ohm resistor. So it allows more voltage across the motor and it goes faster.
Oh, good. Have you done anything about the other car, or is that the same?
This one, well, we tried taking the 3 ohm resistor out, which was this one again, and replacing it with a 1 ohm, but it went so fast it flies off at the corners. So we've stuck 2 1 ohms in and we've got a 2 ohm effective resistor in.
So that was 3.
That's been dropped, yeah, this one's been dropped from 3 to 2, and this one has been dropped from 3 ohms to 1 ohm.
Right. So, before we put these on the track again, should be more exciting this time because it's going quicker. You've had something that has just arrived in the post as well, haven't you?
Ah, yes. So what we've got here are some LEDs, lighthouse LEDs. I'll just get one out. So what we've got is some very small LEDs. They're called lighthouse LEDs. You can see why they look like a lighthouse. And the idea is, well, the 2 millimeters diameter round.
Very small.
Red and white. Very small, yeah. So what we're thinking of doing is using these as headlights in the car because they can be embedded and just have the 2 millimeter bit coming out at the front. And for the rear lights, when we make the bodywork, we'll be using red ones at the back. So you'll just see, again, the 2 millimeter little...
That should be really good.
Yeah, it should be fun trying to make the bodywork and embed these inside.
They look good now, Paul.
Yeah.